The lungs of the earth are going to be given back to it, which is all these trees and all of these flowers, and there's going to be a whole total different vibration.
The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice in thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fella is come up against us.
Because the Lord is going to restore everything. You're going to have a total different vibration on the earth, a total different smell. You're not going to be walking down the street and smell shit and piss, and no foul odors or nothing like that, because the lungs of the earth are going to be given back to it, which is all these trees and all of these flowers, and there's going to be a whole total different vibration. You're going to see the aura and how things are going to change and how elevated things are going to be. Our senses are going to be heightened, Everything about us is going to be glorified.
The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice in thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fella is come up against us. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem Kakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessing and salutation to the whole lake out there pushing the word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the whole lake. And believers and listeners when they came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Shah. All right. And what I want to get into today, all right, is going to a lesson to the way things trending. All right. It will be a crime, to be against wickedness. This devil is setting up a system, okay, where it's going to be an absolute crime to be against wickedness, and he's going to call it, he's going to dress it up, as if, he's in the right, that he's protecting everyone else, from those, that are anti-America and anti-this and you're anti-that. And, but ultimately it's going to be summed up to, if you're against wickedness, all right, you're going to be deemed a problem, okay? Because in the New World Order, he wants everyone, all right, to completely agree with his wickedness, and that's why the New World Order, is going to be set up, with powerful, okay, behavior modification systems. Okay, see, the New World Order isn't just about, okay, people, all right, buying and selling in a different way. Okay, it's just not about, smart cities and this and that. Well, it's about the system that's going to run this, which is going to be mainly through AI algorithms. Okay, and it's going to be geared towards, all right, rewarding a certain behavior, okay, and punishing a certain behavior. You see, it's going beyond, the way of, you know, um, criminal law, okay, where he's changing what it means to be a criminal, okay, and if you're against his narrative, they're setting it up, okay, to deem you a criminal. If you're against his wickedness and what he's trying to do, okay, then he's going to deem you what? A criminal. Okay? So you go to Proverbs 28 and 15, it says, like a roaring lion and a charging bear is a wicked ruler over a poor people. Okay? And this is a very tyrannical rulership. And for the longest he's been able to dress it up. Okay, it's democracy, freedom, liberty. Okay, well this place is completely tyrannical, man. Okay, the way that it oppresses people through psychology, through the economy, okay, through people's, well-being, okay, through this poisonous, food system and many other things, okay, that are toxic in this society, okay. But he's been able to give some people so much convenience and entertainment. People confuse that with this man giving a damn. Things aren't that bad, okay. But this has been, this American project, okay, has turned into a severe case of tyranny, and it's gonna get worse, okay, to the point where it's gonna be, all right, a crime to be against the wicked. All right, real quick, let's um let's get this in the book of Isaiah, okay. It's the book of Isaiah 59, okay, and this is an AMP, all right, verse 15. I haven't read it in the AMP, but let's read this. It says, Isaiah 59 and 15, it says, yes, truth is missing. This is a society where truth is gonna be a crime. you know, you see, truth is gonna be a crime if you don't agree with the lie. Okay, because this is a society where truth is missing. Okay, so where you bring out truth, okay, and you could be criminalized, man. Okay, this world ain't for us now. So as we see what these devils are rolling out, man, we should be fully persuaded. Like, nah, man, we this ain't it, man. Okay, we have nothing to look forward here. Look forward to here, man, in this setup. Okay, Isaiah 59 and 15 said, "Yeah, truth is missing, and he who turns away from evil makes himself a prey." Okay, so when you're in a society where where you denounce evil, and you'll make yourself a prey, and the Lord tells us to call these things out. And we're commanded to address these things. And as we mature and understand more and more what we're a part of, okay, we really begin to develop a perfect hatred for this wicked society, man. Okay, we're commanded to speak out against these things. Okay, and we see why. Things that we was once a part of, enjoyed, and we thought it was it. But man, as we mature in righteousness, man, nah, man, this ain't it, man. Okay, but this is a society where truth is missing. People glorifying partial truths, and nah, man. All right, the real truth, okay, has manifested in the earth, man. All right, and the majority of the planet Earth is against that truth. Okay, they're against true righteousness. They're against who the Lord's chosen people are. Okay, they're against the judgment that's pronounced against this place. Okay, so when you turn away from evil, okay, you tell your people you're not celebrating, Christmas anymore. Okay, and you get backlash, man. Some more than others. Okay, but anyone else, in the family, they do whatever they want. Niggas in and out of prison. All right, 3, 4 baby daddies, by women in the family. Is just I'm a madhouse, man. A complete madhouse. Okay? And everybody else can do anything, but you start doing what the Bible say, and you become a prey. You become bugged out. You become an extremist. You in the cult. You follow the Bible, it'll say you in the cult. You see, you follow the Bible in this society, and now you in the cult. Okay? It says, now the Lord saw it, and it displeased him that there was no justice, man. And the Lord is displeased, all right, of this current setup, man. This is why the Lord's getting ready to judge. He's raised us up. Lord will of that number, man, to pronounce judgment against this place, man. This place is wicked. It's anti-Messiah. It's anti-righteousness, anti-life. This place is anti-life, man. Okay? So, I got a video I want to go into. Okay? Going into, you know, dealing with Trump and certain things, that they're saying that, it's going to be a crime, that they're finna start, you know, um, going against, so, okay. So let's go here. You ready to play? So I can load it up. Oh, wrong thing. All right, so let's play this. Okay, we're gonna touch on a few things, that they say, especially dealing with fascism. To show you where the devil is going. Because their main thing is to bank on people not knowing anything. They bank on Americans being complete idiots, man. And that's one of the reasons Esau is so tacky, because he's so comfortable. His thing is that these people, you people, are complete idiots. So he can say and do anything. Okay, so let's play this.
Just being an anti-fascist, according to Pam Bondi, being opposed to fascism, according to Pam Bondi, is now apparently a crime in America. America's new political reality, Trump decides which beliefs are legal. Now, back in September, and actually in the first week of October, I mentioned this. We talked about this right here on this program on the air. And I wasn't really taking it seriously. I thought this was virtue signaling to the Trump base. The freaks, the genuine haters, the white Christian nationalists, the people like Pete Hegseth who have the Crusader cross tattooed on his chest. I mean, these kinds of nutcases who think that if you're not a white male Christian, you're not really in that kind of stuff. There was this national security presidential memorandum that Donald Trump issued, and back in September, just 4 months ago, and 3.5, whatever. And it included, it said that the government was going to come after you essentially, or investigate you if you displayed any of the indicators of potential domestic terrorism.
So this devil, he's getting ready, to broaden, okay, what it means, all right, to be a domestic terrorist, man. Okay, he's going to put a lot of people in the umbrella. All right, and they said if you're anti-fascist, okay, you're an enemy, to the government. Well, let's look at what fascism is. Okay, because what is fascism? All right, so let's go here. Just a quick look up. All right, I looked it up. All right. It says, what is fascism and why most common people don't like it? Could it be used as tyranny against the common class? Okay, because this whole thing with Antifa, which is not a group, okay, but it's a ideologies of people being anti-fascist. Antifa is short, okay, word for anti-fascism. Well, let's look at fascism. Okay, should it be something that's glorified? Okay, should people be against fascism? What is it? Okay, it says fascism is a political ideology and system of government that emphasizes authoritarian power, strong central leadership, often a single ruler or party. Okay, and this is what they're rolling out. And as we go more into it, we're going to see that America is already fascist. And I'm reading this, they're going over. I say, well, goddamn, America already fascist. Okay, just not called it. You see? So here it is. They're telling you that you can be looked at as a criminal for being anti-fascist. Okay, he said the nation is seen more important, okay, than individual people. Limits of free speech, press, protests, and political rivals, use of force, police, or military to maintain orders. Not is this not what's happening? Okay, then people lose their job about their opinions dealing with Charlie Kirk. Okay, see Kirk, so like you know, you see that. So is this not what's happening real time? Okay, militarism. All right, use of force, police, or military to maintain order. All right, it says unity through conformity. People are expected to think and act in approved ways. Going back to what this, all right, this social credit system that these devils want to roll out globally. Okay, we see it in China, but they want to roll this thing out globally. Okay, people are expected to think and act in approved ways, and then the thing is, okay, if this was a righteous government, okay, it'd be cool. And in a righteous government, you wouldn't need, all right, military force every second. Okay, because really, a righteous government, you're teaching people, okay, how to govern themselves in righteousness. You don't need, all right, government interference in every incident. Okay, you don't need, all right, a standing police force to, okay, impose certain things whenever you have a righteous government. Okay, the common people, for most part, they're able to self-govern themselves in righteousness, man. The government will come in big disputes, major disputes. Okay, not to dictate, all right, and micromanage every, you know, move that a citizen is making. Okay, now that first 1,000 years in the kingdom, it's gonna be rigorous, man, because this is gonna be a payback. It's gonna be a punishment. Okay, and righteousness has to be instilled into these nations, man, because they've been tainted by Esau. You know, to where they gotta go through a righteous rehab. They gotta go through a wicked detox. All right, that first 1,000 years, man. Okay, and after that, man, the nation they're gonna be in servitude. Okay, and it's gonna be a great separation between us and them. The sons of God. The sons and daughters. Okay, well, the Most High. Okay, and the rest of these heathens gonna be a great separation, man. Okay, but we're not gonna, just be, spend all day just spying on, okay, every move that everybody make, man. Okay, and then we're gonna have powers, man, to where, you know, hey, we're gonna be able to know things, man, but we're not gonna use that, okay, to have people as little children, okay, forever five need permission to, you need permission to eat an apple. Your carbon footprint, all nah, man. It's gonna be a righteous system set up. Okay, to where people are going to have true liberty and righteousness. Okay, they're going to be subjugated to law. Okay, but when you go into the law wasn't meant to be overbearing. Okay, the scripture tell you that look, when you pay your tithes, you can buy what you want. That's lawful. Okay, so you know it wasn't no restrictions. You know, people counting your calories and all. Nah, man, why are we doing that, man? Okay, this nigga can't even enjoy his kingdom because he's too busy okay, trying to micromanage, okay, existence, man. Okay, it says unity through conformity. A people are expected to think and act in approved ways. Okay, so historically, fascism is associated with regimes like Mussolini's in Italy and Nazi Germany, man. Okay, so a fascist society under a wicked dictator, man, is terrible, man. Okay, while most common people dislike fascism, most people oppose fascism because it tends to remove personal freedoms. All right, citizens often, okay, lose the right to criticize leaders, organize unions, protest, or vote meaningfully. Okay, it says concentrate power at top. Decisions are made by elites or a single, okay, or a single leader, not by the public. Use fear for propaganda. Governments rely on censorship, misinformation, and intimidation to control society. Okay? Psychology, all these mind games. You think things are real, it's not real. They have you scared. It ain't nothing. Have you, anxious for nothing, and it's just completely wicked. How this man runs the earth. It says target outsiders or dissenters, minorities, immigrants, political opponents, or workers' movement are often blamed, all right, for national problems. And this system to where they blame the poor for all the problems. And see, this the thing. This nigga created the environment for people to be poor. He created the environment in the earth, the unrest in the earth for people to have to be refugees and immigrants. Okay, and migrants, man. Okay? The earth is suffering under poor management, man. But he blames the results of his poor decision making as the problem. Okay? The devil blames the results of his poor decision making as the problem, man. You see? And it says, minorities, immigrants, political opponents, or workers' movements are often blamed, okay, for national problems. Ignore everyday needs while claiming national strength. Fascist systems often neglect wages, labor rights, and social welfare unless it serves the regime. Okay, so they don't give a damn about the people. Isn't not this the country of America today, right now, where they showing you every day that they don't give a damn. Okay, homelessness is up. People living in campers. You know, you in Colorado trying to survive in the camper. You see? But this man don't give a damn. Spent $41 million to enforce, okay, campers to move. All right, to $41 million on uh, forced removals of certain campers and RVs. Okay, when you could have built infrastructure for them to be cool out there, man. Okay, money just spent and wasted all over the place. All right, while people are in dire straits, man. Okay, often neglect wages. Okay, that's here. America hasn't got a raise since 1978. You know, the working class hasn't got a raise since 1978, but the CEOs get raised on top of raise. Okay, this is wicked, man. All right, it says concentrate power at the top. Decisions are made by elites or a single leader, not by the public. Okay? It says, oh, yeah, I read that. Let me jump down. All right, it said, could fascism be used as tyranny against the common class? Yes, and historically it often has been. Although fascist movements sometimes claim to support the people, in practice they usually crush labor unions and strikes. That was done under Reagan. He played a major part in crushing labor unions and strikes. Look it up, okay? Protect large corporations, okay? Under Reagan, these things was happening: tax breaks, deregulation of government against corporations, okay? Or loyal elites, these certain elite families, okay? Suppress working class political movements, use police or military force against workers, demand sacrifice from ordinary people while leaders gain power, man. This is an absolutely wicked setup that this man has going on, man. Okay? And it's getting worse. And he's being more emboldened because the more people are dependent on him, the more wicked he gets. Okay? The more cruel he becomes. Okay? In this technological digital age where more people are dependent on this devil, he becomes more wicked, man. It says under fascism, the common class is often expected to obey, work harder, and accept fewer rights for the sake of the nation without having real control of over how the country is ran. Okay, in simple terms, fascism promises order, pride, and strength. Did not that nigga Trump do that? Okay, did not that nigga Nero 47 come in? All right, with these promises, man. Fascism promises order, pride, and strength. It often delivers control, inequality, and repression. That makes it especially dangerous for ordinary people because they have less power to resist or change the system. Okay? So when people hate this setup and people hate this system, they're acting like the people are tripping. Okay? Pam Bundy. All right? Well, she's the what is Pam Bundy? Okay? Okay? Let's see. Let's see what Pam Bundy is and what does she do. All right, it says Pam Bundy. Let's go here. And then we go back to the video. All right. Well, she says if you're anti, okay, fascist, you're Antifa. Okay, well, you're an enemy to the state. You're an enemy to the government. Okay, and you look at what fascism is, it's like, goddamn, why would I not be against something that doesn't benefit me at all? Okay. It said Pam Bundy is an American attorney and Republican politician known for serving as Florida's first female attorney general and currently as the United States attorney general. All right, under president. So she's okay, pretty much the top lawyer of the White House. Okay, and they're breaking every law you can break. You see, so it's just another Edomite crook. All right, Shedomite. All right, crook. Okay, it says It says appointed by President Donald Trump, where she leads the Department of Justice, focused on law enforcement, healthcare, and combating fraud, human trafficking. Goddamn hypocrite, man. While also acting as a prominent Trump loyalist and legal defender. Okay? And she's saying, look, you speak against this, you anti this. Okay? They want to make you a criminal, man. Okay? So let's go here. Let's play this some more.
So if any of these things apply to you, according to this memo, which again, back in September, I thought was just virtue signaling like a joke. If any of these things apply to you, you might be a domestic terrorist and the FBI might come after you, or at least, that's the way it was presented. And they included, and I quote, this is from the memo itself, from Trump's National Security Presidential Memorandum number 7, quote, anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, anti-Christianity, extremism on migration, extremism on race, extremism on gender, hostility toward those who hold traditional American views on the family, hostility toward those who hold traditional American views on religion, and hostility toward those who hold traditional American views on morality. So have you ever spoken ill?
So who's setting the standard of morality? The devil. Okay? If you speak, and that's why you had this emergence of, white, Christian nationalism that has nothing to do with Christianity, but everything to do with Edomite superiority, man. Okay? And they run, under this banner of traditional family. All right? Well, all these niggas, especially the higher up you are on the same thing Epstein was on. Okay? But they make it seem like, they're just these innocent, they just trying to go to work, go home, and be these great Christians, spreading love and peace and charity in the world, and they're always under attack, okay, from the masses speaking against, their morals and values. Okay? So he's setting the stage up to criminalize everybody, okay, that's against, the superior Edomite male, okay, and his viewpoints and what he considers, moral, okay. I'll play it again.
Migration, extremism on race, extremism on gender, hostility toward those who hold traditional American views on the family, hostility toward those who hold traditional American views on religion, and hostility toward those who hold traditional American views on morality. So have you ever spoken ill of our country or its policies, particularly under Trump? That would be anti-Americanism. Have you ever trash-talked capitalism or praised socialism or, on social media? That would be anti-capitalism. Ever publicly questioned Christianity or profess loyalty to Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, paganism, or any other non-Christian belief system or religion? Have you embraced the trans or the larger queer community? Have you spoken out in defense of single parents or gay marriage or same-sex couples adopting children? Have you said things or carried a sign that might hurt the feelings of masked ICE agents, Donald Trump or Kristi Noem? I mean, when this came out in September, just imagining that any of those things could trigger an FBI investigation of you or me just seems so bizarre that I didn't take it seriously. I mean, I reported on it here and I talked about it and I said, this is bizarre stuff. And neither did the mainstream media. This was a one-day story and it was pretty much confined to MSNBC. I'm not even sure it made CNN. It was just a one-day story. I wrote about it in a October Saturday report. I did an article about it, and then that was it. Again, I didn't think that this was an actual plan to set up a Russia-style police state right here in America. I thought this was just virtue signaling to the Republican base.
This nigga finna do it. Okay. And see, people gonna realize that this nigga is a madman. All right, that he's a goddamn psychopath, man. Okay, and Esau finna do it. Okay, you look at these niggas, man. Stephen Miller. Okay, Pete Hegseth. Okay, Mark Rubio. Okay, Whitehead ass, man. They finna do it. Okay. He's to the point where he's tired of talking and threatening, and this nigga finna do it. Okay.
Turns out I was wrong. Now, in a second bombshell report, Ken Klippenstein has obtained and published a copy of a memo that Attorney General Pam Bondi sent to the FBI on December 4th, which is what, last week, ordering the FBI to actually begin Russia-style investigations of people and groups who fit into the categories that I just described. Not only that, she ordered the FBI to go back 5 years in their research and their investigations of our social media posts, our protest attendance, and any other activities to find any evidence of our possible following of these now forbidden views and beliefs.
Gaza's population is on the brink of famine. Every
Just being an anti-fascist, according to Pam Bondi, according to Pam Bondi, is now apparently a crime in America. This is from her memo to the FBI. This is the official memo from Attorney General Pam Bondi to Kash Patel, to the director of the FBI, directing him to direct his agents to investigate people who are anti-fascists. It said, quote, further, this anti-fascist ideology that paints legitimate government authority and traditional conservative viewpoints as fascist connects a recent string of political violence. Carvings on the bullet casings of Charlie Kirk's assassins' bullets read, "Hey, fascist, catch," and Bella Ciao, an ode to anti-fascist movements in Italy. ICE is really doxxed by anti-fascists, and calls to dox ICE agents appear in the same sentence of opinion pieces calling the Trump administration fascist. End of quote. At the same time, ICE has held outside of Russia and China, bigger than, and the Brennan Center just yesterday published a report titled "ICE Now Wants to Go After Dissenters as Well as Immigrants." Dissenters.
Crossing their line. Okay, they crossing their line. Okay, because it was never just about people coming across the border. Okay, that was just all right. A Trojan horse to get at everybody. You know, we know mainly it's going to be Jake. Okay, we know it's going to be geared towards the 12 tribes and anyone that's against their agenda. You see, so they're going into anybody. Okay, that's a dissenter. That's why they was pushing this woke culture. Is that was the thing to beat, because they was getting ready to come against the woke culture. See, this devil, you know, he'll push, okay, certain behavior that he'll come through the back door and demonize. Okay, he glorified thugs. Okay, now thugs have morphed into YNs. Now they're the problem of the country. They are a problem. Okay. Would you orchestrate these niggas? You manufacture these niggas, man. Okay, so you can't just make them be the problem. You can't make them seem to be the problem of the country and not mention your part in it. Okay, the welfare queen. Well, you orchestrate, you manufacture the welfare queen. Okay, you incentivize that behavior. Okay, the welfare queen today. Okay, the nigga woman, well, she's the third generation, fourth generation of what? Okay, the enchantments of feminism. Okay, would you incentivize and glorify it? Okay, made a whole genre of music about it. Okay, movies about it. All right, you hype Eve up for failure, which, you know, Eve is, you know, she has her accountability in it too, for continue to partake in it. Okay, so yeah, man, this devil, he's playing a hell of a game. Okay, So let's see, what is the so let's go here because they keep saying that word the center. So let's just get it. Okay. The center. All right. It says a dissenter is someone who disagrees with or opposes prevailing opinions, beliefs, or policies, especially concerning religion, government, okay, or groups' established doctrines, often refusing to conform and advocating for different views. Okay, so we know one thing, all right, the American government, all right, and these small hats, okay, they're at the forefront of the criticism of the world. Okay, so now they're making it a crime, all right, to have an opinion, okay, about what they're doing. Okay, the center is someone who disagrees with opposing prevailing opinions. You know, see, this is why even you go against Christianity, okay, you go against, westernization, okay, you go against these things, certain policies. You at the end of the day, it's a crime to go against wickedness, man. Because the prevailing opinions is wickedness. The prevailing beliefs of this system is wickedness, man. Especially concerning religion, government, or a group established doctrine, often refusing to conform and advocating for different views. Okay? And this is why they want to install this digital public infrastructure because it's going to give them so much control, all right, to do behavior modification on a whole nother level, you know? And this is what this devil desires, man. Okay? And as he gets closer to rolling out this system, it's going to get more draconian, man. Okay? So going going from let's get a few precepts, you know, because this is the devil. All right, the Bible speaks of. Now when you go into the let's get in NLT, let's go to Isaiah 29. All right, and 21. It says, those who convict the innocent by their false testimony will disappear. Okay, because with all this is being said and done, okay, his main target is the prophets. Okay, and through the blood of Yahweh Shah, we're innocent. We're just giving a truthful testimony. We're just telling the truth on your wicked ass, man. Okay, we're giving a truthful testimony. All right, and we're gonna be subject to be convicted. Okay, it says by their false testimony. All right, so those who convict the innocent by their false testimony will disappear. A similar fate awaits those who use trickery to pervert justice and who tell lies to destroy the innocent, man. And that's what this system is geared on. And he's just going to rev it up another level. Okay? But the beginning said those who convict the innocent by their false testimony will disappear, man. Okay? You niggas going to disappear from power. All right? And you're going to captivity, man. See, Edomites not going to be seen like that. Edomites are going to be under the earth working. They're going to be in, they're going to be getting resources. All right? And they're going to be on the outskirts. All right, they're gonna be laborers, man. Okay, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and you don't need to be seen anymore. Okay, the power is gonna be stripped. You see, You don't need to be seen like that. You just need to be straight labor, man. Okay, you need to be occupied with work, man, because ruling is not your thing. Okay, so let's go here. All right, because as we're commanded to be against, all right, wickedness, hey, we're gonna stand on our post, man. Okay, this Psalms 97:10, and it says, "You who love the Lord hate evil." Okay, ye that love the Lord hate evil. Okay, so this is a commandment. Okay, I'm not here to pity pat. All right, now we're here to just teach. There's nothing, we're not being militant. Okay, we're not trying to do no cool or, nah, man, we're going to preach against these things. Okay, because having a hatred for something doesn't mean that you do a harm. You just have a deep hatred for it. Okay, the Lord's coming to do the harm. All right, so he protects the lives of his godly people. All right, which is this time is speaking of the hopeful elect, and he rescues them from the power of the wicked. Okay, because the Lord knows that us taking a hard stance against the devil is going to provoke this man to be carnal. Okay, and he's doing it. All right, so the Lord can show his power. He's provoking Esau to get carnal, just like Esau provokes these nations to retaliate on him, so he can play the victim. Okay, well, the Most High is provoking Esau, okay, to make his move so he can show his power. Okay, you Edomites are finna fall right into the trap. Okay, the Most High, he's getting ready to deceive you into being carnal against his prophets, man, and you out of there. Okay, you're out of there. You have, some that's allotted to be beheaded. Okay, but even that is a victory for okay, even as a victory for the elect, man. Okay, because all Esau can do, okay, is send you to the spiritual realm of the Most High, okay, and be rewarded. All right, instantly at the return of Yahweh shall be resurrected. Okay, that's an instant crown. To die for Yahweh shall is an instant crown. So there's nothing the devil can do against the elect. Okay, Job 21:29 says, "Have you not asked them to go by the way, or do you not know their tokens? That the wicked is reserved for the day of destruction. All right, they shall be brought forth to the day of wrath." Okay, so the wicked is reserved for destruction, and they're being brought forth to the day of wrath. See, the devil has been reserved, and the reason why the Lord is allowing, okay, an inquisition to be made on this devil. All right, he's allowing this man to be exposed because he's going to be judged. He saw your ass about to be judged, man. Okay, all these laws and sub laws and all these different 1,000-page bills and all this old shit, man. That ain't gonna work. You done. All right, the Lord has proclaimed, okay, judgment on your ass, man, through the prophets. It says, "Who shall declare his way to his face, and who shall repay him, all right, what he have done?" Okay, and the Lord raised up the prophets to do that, to tell this man about himself to his face, man, via the internet. Okay, so you Edomites are finished, man. Okay, make you look weak ass laws and this and that, and do what you gonna do. Okay, well, when you really move, the Lord gonna really move. Okay, and we gonna see, all right, how that turned out on your end. Okay, so Lord will you brothers. All right, and you sisters edified once again. Want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to our younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations, hopefully, shalom.